everybody. I think
Good
everybody's
morning,
still.
team from East Coast.
Yeah, man, you're always the first one that comments on our show whenever we started on Thursdays.
hmm
So,
Yeah, well, the reason why is because I just like to be updated, and I somehow stumbled upon you and is it Liza or Lisa?
It's Lisa.
Lisa. Sorry about that. Yeah,
No
I
worries.
stumbled upon you guys, and I was thinking like I know California is a incredibly expensive market, but it never hurts to get educated.
you
And plus, I like to
you
have
invest
people
in
talking in my
property
ear
too.
while I'm working too.
Yeah. You invest in real estate too, though.
Yes, I have a little bit. I'm not as big as you guys, but I dabble a little bit into it, and we could talk into it too if you guys are interested.
Yeah. Good morning, Charles.
Morning, Charles.
Morning.
Jim, Charles.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, Jim.
Okay,
So,
we could start with anything you guys want.
yeah. So I know that you only have a little bit of time with us because you are working as well, and you were able to squeeze a little bit of time for us today. Um, I'll I'll probably let you start first, and then we'll start our normal routine of going through the market updates and all that. So maybe you just kind of give like a quick introduction about what you do, where you're from, how old are you, and then like how long you been doing this, and then we could just kind of start from there.
Yep. So I'll briefly summarize. Um, I live in North Carolina. I was actually born in Sacramento. Moved to North Carolina in '97 as a 2 year old, and then I, I grew up in a little small town called Valdez most of my life. It's like a little retirement home or retirement community. Went to school for engineering. Graduated with my master's in 2021. Um, Passed my license exam for engineering in 2022, and then I opened up my own little firm in 2023 last year. Um, so what I do on the side is I run a little small structural engineering firm on the side, and it completely blew up. It got super busy. So I run. So the logo on the back is my little engineering firm. Um, anyway, I do that on the side, and then I was like, you know what? I have time to automate another revenue. Like obviously, I work a W-2 job right now, but I thought to myself I could do another revenue. I did dabble a bit into real estate. Like right now, I only have two properties, but I have one in Tennessee that built up the equity that built up in Tennessee. That house is about double. I bought it for 129, and now it's worth about 250. So I'm gonna refi it actually in about 10 days. Anyway, so the point is, I bought a car in December last year, 2023, and I was thinking to myself, I've always wanted to do Turo, like what we were just talking about on a pre-meeting. Turo is very easy to do. Anybody could do it. It doesn't have to be some guru. Like what Elisa said, even if your credit's bad, you can still get a car and you can still rent it out. And I'm going to kind of go into what I did and how much it cost me. So I want you guys to interrupt me if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, man, go right ahead. This is gonna be your time. I just wanted to honor it, so I'm gonna give you as much as you could share. That'd be great.
Okay. So I bought a Kia 2024 Seltos back in December 2023. The MSRP was 25,000. It was completely new, brand new SUV, factory made. It's just a base model. And what I found out in Turo is that if you guys want to do Turo, um, SUVs are some of the most versatile vehicles on the market for people wanting to rent because SUVs can be used for getaway trips, for solo trips, for family trips, or whatever. Yes. So if you look, typically, people love cheap cars like the Nissan Maxima, Nissan Versa, and so one trick people do is they typically try to buy old cars within 10 years. Turo has some stipulations where your car can only be a maximum of 10 to 12 years. And if it's older, you need to justify that the car is still in good condition to use. But anyway, so I bought the car and I rented out for approximately $50 a day. And my area is pretty cheap compared to Sacramento. My area is really cheap. And I'm surprised that people like to rent it out. I think you can pull mine up if you search up Chia. If you search up let me see if I could, if you search up Statesville, North Carolina, there should be a way to do it. But it's okay. What matters is that Turo is very easy to automate. You don't have to always manually type in stuff. What I do is once I bought my car payment was $369 a month, and my insurance is about $100, and so car payment insurance total is about $470, and operation and maintenance is about $100 average. So you're looking at about $550 per month of total expenses. You will, on average, for me where I live, where it's not very high income, it's very still up and coming, I managed to break even net revenue at half a month, and this is on average from January to February, March. Every month I always break even at the mid-month, and then I always double at the end of the month. And this is steady. This is consistent income that, in my opinion, for a low-income area where I live, where it's still up and coming, I'm surprised that people rent Turo cars. So you guys imagine where you guys live in Sacramento or Fresno or San Diego or wherever, you imagine what you can do. Anyway, yeah, you guys have any questions so far? Hey, Chi, I can't hear you. Chi, I think you're muted.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah. So sorry. You said that you're kind of like in a somewhat low income area, and it's getting rented out pretty often. Do they tell you where your renters are coming from? Are they renting it because they're just new in town, or they're taking it out on a joyride, or do they tell you that?
They don't tell you where they're coming from, but they do have a verification process. So renters first thing is they need to be verified by Turo, like their ID needs to be real, their location, their whatever. But Turo's not going to tell you where they're coming from, but Turo will show you their ID, their driver's license. And what they do is before they come rent your car, they'll take a picture of their face in real time, and then they'll put their ID next to their face. That way you can verify that their face matches their driver's license.
Okay,
so,
okay.
And look, oh, 1 second.
David Pope, dial extension 7540.
Sorry
David.
about that.
Well, you are at work.
Yeah. So Turo has an accepted risk, accepted risk of, if your car gets damaged, if it gets into a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
But in life where there's risk, there's reward. And Turo is one thing that I want. And Chia, I saw that you've been renting out your RV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been keeping up with that. That's awesome. Like, it's the same concept. Another thing that people want to look at is, like, you can rent out your boats. If you have boats, or if you have equipment, trailers, you can rent it out too. It's the same thing. But anyway, so my SUV that I got, my monthly payments with everything, insurance, car payment, operation, maintenance, it's about $500 to $550 a month, and I make about that much in half a month, about $500, $550, and then at the end of the month I make about double that. So my net revenue at the end of the month is around $900 to $1,000. That's net revenue. And
that's pretty good for a little side gig like that.
Yeah, but this is the power of it. You imagine that's one car. Imagine the more expensive your car, the more you can charge for it, and the bigger your fleet, obviously the more profit you can get. There is accepted risk. People get into car accidents, people damage it, people smoke in there, and so you have to take that into account.
Have you ever done like a big claim before on your Turo account?
Yes, I have. Actually, I have. So my car got into a minor accident about 2 months ago, and the way Turo claims work is even if they're at fault or not at fault, what you do is you immediately report it to TURO. If the renter gets into an accident, do not report it to your personal insurance company. The way TURO works is they want you to go through them always, and so they'll take care of everything. You have a deductible plan that as the TURO host, the cheaper your deductible plan, the more profit you'll get, but obviously the less benefits you'll have. So like for me, I wanted to maximize our profit, so I chose the cheapest deductible plan. But because of that, when the renter got into the minor accident, I did have to pay a little bit more out of my pocket. So it's up to you. It's up to how you want to maximize your pocket. But yeah, you guys have any questions so far?
So yeah, I do. When you rent your car out on TURO, your personal auto insurance, do you have to change it for that vehicle that's rented out as a business now?
Yes, you do. You do. And they have one where Travelers has a commercial vehicle insurance for TURO. I don't think Progressive and State Farm has it, but Travelers has a commercial insurance where you'll need it, and eventually, where you'll get to a fleet of, let's say, 5 or 10 cars, you will want to get commercial vehicle insurance because everything changes, because you no longer it's no longer you riding the car, it's people riding it, and if people get into car accidents, you don't want to get in trouble with personal insurance. If your personal insurance finds out that you're doing this, they can legally drop you.
Right.
But yeah, roughly my insurance is about $100 a month, which it's not bad at all. So
yeah, considering what you're making on the side with it,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like just to stress again, you will typically break even at half a month, and then you would typically double at the 1 month mark. It's not a lot of income, but you have to think it's just one car. You times that by 5 or times it by 10 cars, and then you're looking at something pretty substantial.
Would you say this is pretty accurate then, what they have here?
Let's see. Average annual income of one car. Yes, I like that. So you get about 11 to 12,000 average annual income. 3 cars. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. I like
accurate.
that. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I mean, that's that's pretty spot on. And I want you guys to know that's average. So, let's say if you were to buy a more, like, for example, I'll give you an example. The Tesla Cybertruck, that thing, you can rent it out for $500 to $1,000 a day. I'm not even kidding you. But your average car, like, let's say like a like my 2024 Kia Seltos SUV, that one you can rent it out for about $50 to $70 a day. And it's, I mean, if you equate it to a rental house, like a long-term rental home, it's pretty equivalent. You get a profit of about $500 to $600 a month. And
yeah, it's funny because then when I did my RV, right, I knew I was gonna rent it out already, because I've always wanted an RV. I like the outdoors, so I knew that I wasn't gonna go out every weekend, right?
Yep, correct.
So while it's sitting, why not make a little bit of cash on it? And then I looked into it, and then I rented it out, and yeah, it makes decent income on top of paying back the lease payments and all that, So
yes,
the renters are actually making the payments for me and then some, right?
Correct.
And that's the same thing I kind of told my wife, because when I first started it, she was like, I don't think anybody's gonna rent the RV. And I'm like, we'll see, worst case, we'll see. They don't, and we just keep it, But it ended up doing pretty well, and that's the same thing I told her, was it's kind of equivalent to a cash flowing on the property. The only downside to this versus a property, though, is of course you can't refinance it and take cash out, and it doesn't have equity like that. It's actually depreciating pretty badly, not like a home.
You can always sell it after you're done with it.
True.
Yeah.
That's what I said too. Yes.
Yeah, unlike a home, these cars. I mean, obviously they do. You're right. They do depreciate, but you can easily sell a car, very easily sell a car.
True. I
Um,
actually know I actually have a client that has a business. She has 5 cars, so she's probably making
wow.
on average, for her, in the what she tells me is every time whenever she rents a car out, if whatever money that car makes, she doesn't keep any of it because she doesn't really need the money. She's just doing it as a side gig. She
Yeah,
uses that
that's
money to pay off the car.
yep. Me too.
So then after like a year or two, she cashes out a car that she leased, and then she just keeps buying more and more car. You know,
That that's it. That's it. Like what your friend's doing, and it's identical to the real estate game. You know, like a you buy, you hold it, and you get income, and then you buy next. It's just the same domino effect. I To sum it up, what Turo in my simple terms is Turo is the Airbnb of cars. That's it. Same. I mean, for me, same principles, same concept, same type of like insurance claims, blah 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 blah. So, what I'm trying to educate people on is that anybody could do Turo, literally anybody, and even if your car is like your car needs to be within like around 10 or 12 years of old from present time. But let's say if your car is like 15 years old, if you can reasonably justify to Turo that your car is in top condition, you can still rent out a car that's pretty old. So it's an easy side hustle. Like what I always stress is that if, for example, Chia, you, Lisa, and Charles, if you three have kids, you could get your kids to help you maintain a car and clean it. And they get like what I do is I pay my nephews to help me do everything. I'm literally I sleep and I make money. They'll take care of everything for me. Like they'll clean it, they'll detail it. I just pay them, and I don't worry about it.
I know that's so funny because I do that. Like I have my kids clean the RV and do the laundry, wash it, and all that. And my daughter just started working, right? And she's
Uh-huh.
part time because she's still a student. And um, one time she was cleaning the RV, and and she asked, "How much did I get paid on the RV this last trip?" And then I showed her, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you got paid more than me in a whole month of working." and then I'm like, "Yep, I did." And then she's like, "Why am I working then?"
You know, it's so funny because that's it. Like, man, Chia, like it's not about us, man. It's about the kids. It's about the future generation and what you can teach them.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get my kids to think about how like this is passive income for us, right? To where we rent our RV, we're not there 24/7 breathing over the renter's neck. They go and do whatever with it. They bring it back, and um, it, about RV sharing a little bit. It's actually not that much work because it's a tiny little one under 100 square foot home, right? And then whenever people take it out, they don't it's not like they're in there 24 hours like a house, right? They're there, they just want to go to the outdoors and go and have fun. They're only really coming back to eat and sleep. That's it.
Mm,
You see what I mean?
it's
So
very
like
true.
it's not as worn out as like a home, and when it does break down, it's very easy to fix things because
Mhm.
it's just like a car, you know?
What about?
Um
I mean,
And
the
and and I know that there's other renters too that rent motorhomes out. Mine's a travel trailer, so it doesn't
mhm.
have a motor, it doesn't have a generator built in, so it's way easier to maintain it versus like somebody with a motorhome too. At least that's what I've heard from other renters that have motorhomes.
I see. That's really good insight for me because I've never looked into even RV or any kind of boat. I mean, I've only done cars but it's the same concept though, right?
It is. It's just
Yeah,
Airbnb for that particular item, right? Like Turo, you
yeah.
know,
In,
is
in my in my opinion, like what I want a lot of young kids, or not even just young kids, people in general, to take from this presentation is that Turo or RV sharing is something that anyone can really do, and it's not exclusive.
Yeah, that's why we wanted you to come on the show
Mhm.
today and talk about it because right now with inflation, cost of living, I don't know about over there, but I'm pretty sure it's nationwide, right?
It's
To where
nationwide.
to where
Yo,
everything's expensive now, and you pretty much got to do a side gig and your job, and then another job to really want to live comfortably, right?
yep,
Unless you're just a salesman and you're selling like crazy, then yeah, you're doing good. But something like this, anybody could do. And then like RV sharing, same thing. Like anybody could do that, right? It's easier to get a loan for those type of products. And with sites like Turo and RV sharing like that, people can make extra income. And yes, me, Lisa, and Charles were in the one more focused on the real estate industry side. But in order to qualify for that, maybe it might be tough. This could be something that could help like balance everything out, to where, hey, maybe if you want to like be able to afford like a different lifestyle, maybe this is something you can do on the side, to where it's just passive income. You only need to take care of it or have your kids take care of it when it comes back,
yep,
and then while they're taking care of it, they're also learning about the business. And if you get really comfortable in there, you can just buy more cars and then turn into like a fleet account, so I think it's pretty interesting how much people are kind of so invested in this, but also really um crazy too how not enough people are doing it when they
yep.
could be doing it, because there's so many people, I'm pretty sure you know too, that are like struggling right now. And
Oh man. Oh
and,
dude,
and,
yeah.
and it's just hard, and this is something that they could probably do on the sideline, but I think there's also that risk, right,
Yes.
that people's afraid of. What would you say is the risk?
Yes. The risk is obviously the worst case scenarios if they sue you, the renter. And in any business, you can always get sued. You have to accept that in any business, you will always get sued, or you might get sued. And another risk is that your car might get into an accident. But
True.
with anything in life, there's a risk. It is up to you to what you can and can't accept in life. In life, I've accepted that there are risks. Like, for example, I had a minor accident with my car renter, and I woke up one day at 6 in the morning. She called me. She was crying. I told her, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yes." "Is your child okay?" "Yes." "Is your husband okay?" The most important thing is that whenever things happen, you need to learn how to de-escalate it and take care of it. Things happen, and there's risk in anything you do. Even sleeping, there's a risk to sleeping. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people there is the paralysis by analysis. A lot of people get that. Um,
It's the
but
unknown.
yeah, it's normal, and I just want people to really know that like even if you don't use this as an income generating stream, it's just, let's say if you're curious and you want to break even your car payment, or like what you said, Chia, they're struggling, but right now, if you really go to the store, or you walk around and you look at I always say it, you see this quiet desperation in a lot of people right now, especially with the economy. A lot of families are struggling, inflation. If you look at their face, you look at the way they talk, and you go on Facebook and you listen to people, there's this quiet desperation that we're all suffering. And these are things you can do to kind of lessen your burden.
So, Jim, every market is quite different. You said where you're at is a very small town. To minimize
Yes.
those and increase profitability, what would you advise for our audience to understand? I'll say, okay, these are the things that you should look out for. This is where you should rent out the Turos, things like that. Can you provide us with some insight on tips on how to do that?
Yes, that's a great question, Lisa. In terms of risks or things to look out for, you do want to look out for number one thing is renters who there's a check-in process whenever renters rent out your car. They'll take a picture of their face and they'll put their ID next to their face. People who make it difficult to check in, be careful of people like that. There's something fishy about them. Like I've had 2 renters where they refuse to take a picture of their face, saying it's privacy. If you have a renter who refuses to follow protocol per TURO, absolutely just cancel their trip. If they refuse to take a picture of their face, there's something fishy about that, because you do not want to get to a point where your TURO car gets rented and it gets stolen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing to happen. Or even worse than that. Even worse than that is if they take that TURO car and they do a crime with it, you're man. So one thing for me is the most important thing. Look for people that refuse to take a picture of their face and an ID, and if it's kind of fishy, and if you feel like it's even fishy at all, cancel it. And then some good locations. Obviously, for me, I started renting my car from my home first because I wanted to learn TURO and I wanted to keep my overhead costs low. So a few tips for people who want to start. If you're comfortable, start at your home or start somewhere where you feel safe. And what I do is I have a Ring camera. I'll show you. This is my calculator, but you can't see it. So I have my Ring camera on top, and then I have a key lockbox on the bottom. So every time a renter comes and gets the key from the lockbox out, the code automatically changes every renter. I change it every renter, the code from the lockbox. But when they come pick up the key, my camera catches their face and then come in to pick it up. That way I know who's coming to pick it up, when they picked it up, and when they return it. So have a camera and have a key lockbox right below it. So those are, and then in terms of renting it, like I said, start at your home first or start somewhere where you're comfortable. Always start small. Don't go big right away. Eventually, when you're comfortable, you have big cities, like for example, with Sacramento, you have airports are great ways to earn income. Airports, you can rent a space in an airport parking lot for your TURO. And the hard thing is that you need to hire car managers to handle your TURO car at the airport. So start small, start your house first, and eventually get to a point where you can rent it out at airports. Airports are the way to go. So, see, my 30-minute mark is coming up. So before we conclude, I just want to say, as the economy changes, one thing you start seeing is that each person, like you know how there's Lyft, Uber, Airbnb, each person is starting to have more and more sovereignty of what they can do. Back then, taxi controlled everything, or budget, or Hertz, or Enterprise. But now we're our own little Airbnb, we're our own little Enterprise, or we're our own little TURO. So I want people to kind of have power and take it back to themselves and not always rely on demand to take care of them. I
think that's the direction we're headed, is everybody's going to start eventually controlling these, like all of these big, like markets, like taxi and all that. It's going to get super saturated to where now the consumers could do it themselves,
Yep.
But I wanted to kind of go back to your verification of the drivers before you rent it out. So TURO doesn't have a system to where they verify the driver on their end. Instead of just doing a selfie, like they don't do any other lines of security checks of like for example, RV, right? RV, they don't just check the ID of the driver license of the renter, but they also ask for their insurance.
TURO does not ask for insurance, but it does ask for ID. And the reason why TURO does not ask for insurance is because if anything happens, TURO takes care of it themselves with their insurance department.
True.
But
so go ahead.
The driver does need to be verified prior to even booking your car.
So with RV, right? The reason why I bring it up is because with the RV industry, they ask for insurance, and how it works is if there's any insurance claim that goes on, the RV share site, they do have insurance that insures the host. But in case, the guest doesn't have money or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
they go they go and go after the guest insurance company. So how they work is, yeah, they will
Oh,
reach out to the guest insurance company. So what I like about it is pretty cool because right when they book your RV, right, you get like their whole information, their phone number, their address, their ID, and you get their insurance information.
that's super useful, man.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
all of that. So then when you make a claim, they first go to they try to arbitrate it right between the host and the guest, and if that doesn't work out and the guest is just ghosting you, then they go after the insurance now.
I like that. See, Turo doesn't do that, man. From my experience, Turo doesn't do that.
Yeah,
Huh.
see, so that's why I felt super secure when I rented my RV out because they took all these extra steps, right?
I
And
see.
and like I've been fortunate enough to just dealt with guests directly and say, hey, look, we could go through insurance or we could just work something out. And most of the time they choose a latter, right? But yeah, so I'm surprised that Turo being this big,
Ye-
they don't ask for something like that.
Yeah, which is for me, that's something I never even thought about, the insurance part. Like for me, because I've rented on Turo before, and for what they ask for me is really my driver's license, and obviously I have to be verified with my face and ID, but that's really it, man. Like I'm
Yeah, that's
surprised too.
crazy. Yeah, that's crazy
Hmm.
because then if you don't pass the insurance verification, but you pass everything else, you still can't book.
Wow.
Mike Smith, dial
Sorry, guys.
7525,
All good,
please.
man. You passed the 30 mark, so I know you gotta go.
Yep.
I'm pretty Turtle's very new for us, right? Because I've never done it. I've heard of people doing it, but I never really looked into it. But I'm pretty sure as viewers starts to watch this and rewatch this, there'll be more questions. Maybe we might have you come back and do like a quick PowerPoint or something like that on a better day to where you could
Yeah.
dedicate more time.
I just typed you my number, my email, and if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I'm super open. My job is to not gatekeep. My job is to make sure we all rise, and to hell with gatekeepers. So let me know if you need
That's why
anything.
we do this every week, man. We're trying to knock that gate down and just let everybody know because there's so much information out there. If you really look deeply into researching it, and but then the most important part, like what you said, don't be paralyzed with all the information. Like just start, just do it. If you think you could do something like this, like just do it. It's
Yep, exactly.
like go be super conservative first. You don't have to go aggressive, like because
Yep.
I know sometimes people can look at this and be like, oh man, I'm never gonna get 9 cars. That's really the income I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
Start with one. Start with your car or something, and then just get the used to it. And then from there, if you want to do more, then do more. But stay in control of how crazy you want to do it. You don't need to be super aggressive, but start. That's really the most
Yes.
important thing.
I mean, look. This is way past my time, but I just want to conclude. With the amount of revenues you do, obviously we all know you want to have more than one stream of revenue. You know, and I hope people really take this and run with it. Like what you said, just take a risk. Sometimes you have to take a risk to get somewhere in life. And I'm always here if you guys have any questions at all, because I've already taken the risk.
Yeah,
So
well, hey man, thanks again for coming on the show, sharing a little
mhm.
bit about your turtle. If the viewers want to see more, maybe we
Yeah,
could have you come back. You could do like a quick PowerPoint and then go
yep.
over more. Well, just to close it out for you, how many cars do you have right now? How many cars do you plan on getting for turtle?
I only have one, man, and I'm already making that much. But so I've been in the market for another SUV, something like something similar to a CRV or a Rav4, and I'm actually gonna close the deal next month. But
Okay.
that's gonna be my second car, and I think I think if you guys, as you guys get better at it, you want to stick with an older car in the 2010s or 20 mid 2010s. But I don't know. I'll think about it. But my fleet, I do want to have around 4 cars by the end of this year, 3 cars.
Okay.
So I just started it this year, so I'm still kind of fresh at it, but I'm not really scared of anything.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Well, I mean, thanks again, bro. Appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on the show.
Thanks so much, guys, for everything you do. And Lisa, Charles, Chia, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, man. You
Thanks,
take
Jim.
care. All right. Thanks again, Jim.
Yep, bye, guys.
All right. Peace. All right. What did you guys think of that?
I think it's great.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the one of the things I didn't want to take up any of his time talking about it, but one of the things, obviously, in our area is, the insurance is going to be much more to maintain that, but then the fees for the vehicle are going to be more when you rent it out. I mean, we'll probably, over here, you're probably going to get average $100, if not 150, depending on what's the size of the vehicle is, because when you rent from, one of these other larger rental companies, it's not cheap, so and then there's obviously we have that whole insurance issue in California, but I think it's definitely still something that's doable for sure.
Yeah.
And that there's people that still do Uber all the time. There's still do people that do Lyft and these other companies, and you have to have different insurance for those too, even. But no, I think that's an amazing idea. And then like you said, as the fleet grows, you make money. That's a decent bump in a pay to have that extra income like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about your RV too. So you said there's been a couple of things that have happened. So typically what happens is like, what's the worst thing that's happened on your RV when somebody rented it out?
So the worst thing is not really a big thing, but the worst thing that's happened to my RV is they drove the RV into like a tree branch that was sticking out when they were and
They were trying to park it.
yeah, and it knocked out one of my my sensors from my awning. So I just had to replace like the covers for it, and luckily the motor was still intact. That was about it. But I whenever I reach out to a client, a guest for like a claim like that, I'll take before and after pictures, right? And I normally always ask them, hey, look, we could go through your insurance, but you're gonna get dinged on your insurance side. Or you could just kind of like, we could just work something out, maybe even through Venmo or Zelle or anything like that, because they got because what number one, the first thing I do whenever I rent my RV out is I always text them a day before and say, hey, looking forward to meeting you and your family. And now they have my personal cell phone, right? So there's full transparency right there. And I let them know whatever you guys need, don't hesitate to call, text, or whatever you got to do. And then from there, when they return it, I still have their number. They still have my number. So it's still fresh, and I bring it up right away after I do my checklist and walkthrough. And most of the time, dude, like, knock on wood, 100% of the time, my guests that's damaged the RV or stuff went missing or anything like that, they accidentally forgot to put it back in the RV, they'll just send me like a Venmo. And then I'll just order it again, and then no harm done. So that's the worst case. The second time was this older lady rented it out. And right before she left, she opened my propane tanks. You're not supposed to travel with the propane tanks open because the lines are moving, there's pressure, and the car's, vibrating through the road. So she left it on and she was driving it, and then she parked it somewhere. And when she went inside the RV, she's like, there's a very heavy gas smell. I'm like, that's odd. And then she said, yeah, like, I don't know what it is. So then I came and checked, and I was like, you know what? I don't know where this is coming from, but this is the first time I've heard it. So anyways, I told them we could cancel your trip right now and you'll get a full refund. You're just gonna have to pay the listing fees that Yuri took up. But I'm not getting paid a dime, and I'll show her. And then and then we'll just cancel it. She'll get her refund back, most of it, and then I had to take it into my dealer and check it out, and there was a gas leak from one of the propane lines connected to the inside of the RV, and then we fixed it. Easy fix. But those two will probably be like my worst that I've ever experienced on my RV. Nothing yet to where it's like a car accident or anything like that. But the good thing though, kind of like Airbnb, there's insurance for that reason, right? Like we pay for insurance, but it's ironic how sometimes when we actually use it, when we should be using it, we're really adamant about not using it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny how that works, right? We're paying
Yeah.
insurance every month. When you need to use it, right? So
Yeah, but I feel like if it's something big, then you have it, right? Like let's say
right.
somebody plows into the side and it's
Yeah.
just obliterated. But when it's that little stuff, you're like,
Yeah, when it's those little things, just work it out,
Yeah.
right? It's not worth your premiums going up because you have a claim now.
or
So
getting canceled.
that
Yeah.
I agree. Yes. So going back to the insurance part, if somebody wrecks my RV, the RV listing sites that I share it on, their insurance will back it up all the way to like $1 million.
hmm
And my RV is not worth $1 million. So I feel pretty good about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like just little things like that, to where it gives me a little bit more peace of mind, right? And most of the times, like you'd be amazed. I was gonna say this too when Jim was on. Most of the time, these people that are renting your RVs or your cars, they have money because it ain't cheap. Like, dude, my RV is like $130 to $150 a night, depending on the month, right? You could go and get a hotel or something like that already. But most people want the convenience of it being right there on site, so they rent it out for that convenience. And for the convenience, there's a price. Just like the gas station. You buy stuff from the gas station all the time and it's more expensive. Yes, that 12-ounce soda would have only been a couple of cents if you bought a 6-pack, but it's a convenience of being right there when you're getting gas and you didn't think about bringing a 6-pack. So it's $3 now. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a price for convenience, and that's what I would say about that. And to be honest, the RV is going pretty good to where me and my wife are even talking about getting a second one.
Yeah. I think that for a lot of people too, because, my wife and I kind of dabbled in this a little bit, we were going to do one and store it. But one of the things that I think, and this because you own one and you're dealing with that, it's pretty expensive, when you're thinking about something that you're not using all the time. Like if you use it maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year, it's pretty expensive especially if you can't park it at your house, and then you got to deal with insurance, you got to deal with storage, you have to deal with, upkeep because now it's sitting somewhere, all these little things start to break down, all that. So if you're not actually using it all the time, renting an RV is a really smart idea, because especially if you like to go camping, but you don't want to have to deal with all that. If you have the space and you have a little bit of, again, residual income, or you make a little bit more and it's not a big deal to you, that's cool. But then this gives you the opportunity to have something to go be able to go out and camp still, and then it's like you said, $150 when you think about it. Like you said, it's like renting a hotel. Then you go to the place you're renting. Sometimes, it could be $30. Sometimes it could be $70, $80 to rent if it has full hookups, right? So, when you're going camping, it's like you don't want to go to a hotel. You want to go camping. You want to go to that site. You want to go where the lake is. You want to be able to stay there and do those things. But renting an RV for most people, I feel, is really the best option, because it's much more inexpensive. And then if you know what you're doing and if you've done it enough, that's the only part that I'm kind of concerned about when I think about renting one, because you know, a lot of people don't know the ins and outs of RVs. Like I've been RVing since I was a kid with my parents, right? And so anytime I rent an RV, they're explaining all the stuff to me at the place, and I'm like, it's all good. I know all that, you know, all the things. But it's different when you have just a random person that's like, oh yeah, I want to go out in an RV, and they don't even know how to tow anything, and they should not be towing anything. That's where I kind of get a little, you know, scared. But I mean, obviously, like I said, as long as you know, you got people that have done it before, or you know, they can get a good explanation. That's the only thing where I wonder, like I think you've had a pretty good run of things, you know, with a towable especially, because you know sometimes people get a little like they don't really understand, and they think things, like you said, people hitting things with trees and stuff like that. But that'll happen with experienced RVers, you know, especially with a big RV, you know, and you're coming into a spot and they have trees that are overhead. It happens, you know.
So that's a good question. And going back to the storage, yes, some homes or areas, subdivisions will not allow you to park your RV on your driveway unless you have an RV access. If you don't have RV access, you can't store your RV at your home. So that's one. The other thing, right, about what you just mentioned, yes, sometimes I'll get a renter that has no knowledge of towing or setting up the RV, and yes, it does get a little worrisome. But what I have learned is people, RV is super easy, because I remember when I first rented an RV out, it was crazy, but I did it. You just gotta follow the steps. So what I like to do with all my guests is, of course, when I ask them, have you done this before? They say no. I always send them a quick 5-minute video on how to do it. And then most of the time they're so excited, right? Because their kids are with them and they're like, oh yeah, we want to make this a good experience for them. The wife is normally watching the video, and then the husband is doing the walkthrough with me. So by the time we're done with the walkthrough, she's probably watching like twice already, and she's familiar with it. So then, for example, my last guest that took it out, right? They took it out to like near Bodega Bay, and they took it out for 3 days. And it was their first time renting an RV. And then I sent them that video. They were super appreciated. They didn't even think about that. Even though I went through the walkthrough, it was so overwhelming because they didn't know what the heck I was talking about. But as they watched the video, they remembered my walkthrough. And then after they leveled it and did all that, they sent me pictures saying, "Cheer, we did it!" Like things like that, you know. So like it's very simple. So as long as you're really you're really communicating that setup and all of that with them, then you don't have to worry about it. And again, worst case, if they can't tow, most of the time they're not going to be even willing to reach out to you to rent your travel trailer.
Yeah,
people are not that dumb, you know. They kind of, some people know their limits, you know, because it's not just their RV, that it's not just our RV that they're towing, it's their vehicle that they're using to tow. So that means if they wreck their RV, they're wrecking their truck too, you know?
Yeah.
So people that tow for the first time, I noticed they're a little bit more careful because their baby is also on the line, their vehicle. So they're going speed limit, 55 miles per hour, or, you know? So at least that's what I've experienced. And after you rent it out to a few newbies for at a time, you kind of start to not worry as much.
Yeah. I'm really
so
surprised.
Yeah, man, if you want to do it, you just gotta start.
I know you've talked about it.
You just gotta start, bro. You and your wife really want to do it, and you guys just want to own an RV because you guys love the outdoor, dude. Worst case, you get one renter a month. That pays for your payment every month.
Yeah, we got a little pop up a while ago, and then, like I said, we were going to restore it, and then life changed and everything. So we'll probably end up doing something definitely later on again. Once things settle down a little bit. But we go out at least once a year, and when again, once things settle down a little bit, we're going to definitely go out a lot more. But it's always been something that I've enjoyed. So, I'll probably be hitting you up.
Just let me know. Hopefully it's not booked during the month that you reach out to me.
Yeah.
just let me know in advance, and I'll hold that spot for you. But all right, let me just do this real quick before we forget and run out of time. Let me just go over the quick market update for everybody, and then we could go from there. All right, let's see what this week looks like so far for the market update. Inventory is definitely going up, Lisa. Yep, it's up by 1% from last week. New listing is also up 5%. Sold home is up 24%. Pending home is up 4%. Everything's up from last week. Last month, inventory is up comparing 5% more. New listing is actually down 16%. Sold home is down 20%. And pending homes are up 1.4%. Same time last year, more inventory this year by 45%. New listings are down a tiny tab. Sold homes are down 8%. Pending homes are up 12%. So again, I think for once June ends, everything should go up more because we had a very slow month for May, and June was when it started picking up. So that makes sense why the pending is so much higher, because a lot of homes went pending this month. So that's that. Average price per square foot went down from last week. It also went down from last month, but it is up from last year by 2%. Ooh, my nose is running. Are y'all nose running?
No, we're okay. Catch
Isn't
it,
it
Chia.
summer? Oh my gosh. Average days on the market went up by 8 days compared to last week. But last month, it's down by 1 day. So 22 days on average for a home to be off the market when it hits the market. Okay, so that's still very quick. Now, it is more than last year, same time, by like 3 days. But what's 3 days? This is still very, very fast, okay? Especially if it's also like a loan purchase and not cash. This is very fast. I've noticed, Lisa, a lot of lenders right now are doing super, super quick closes, like 10
Yes.
days, 10-day close.
It's possible.
I know it's possible. It's like cash.
It is. It is. And then that's the thing too, is because when there's not a huge volume, right, everybody can concentrate on
Yeah.
whatever's in the pipeline and whatnot too. And that's the thing. It's great to get able to close early. But at the same token, I'm seeing, especially for first-time buyers and whatnot too, Chia, mine are actually is because the transition of the sellers needing to sell and things like that. So it takes a little bit longer to help our people transition and give them that time that they need, right?
Right. That's true. Man. All right, active price is up from last week, just a tiny tab, but sold price is down from last week by 4.5%. Okay. But from last month, active price is up by a tad, just a tiny tad. And sold price is also down from last month by 0.6. Again, I feel like this is probably going to go up at the end of June once all of these pending homes starts closing. Okay. So we will see about that in a couple of weeks if my projection is right. But from last year, active price is down by 5%. But look at this. Last year, compared to this year, average sold price is higher by 1.5%. Remember last week how it was down? Or the last 2 weeks, it was down comparing to. And I said, if it keeps being like that for the next couple of months consecutively, then maybe the downturn is coming. Look, prices are going back up. And let's just see how that holds for the next couple of weeks or months. Months, I'll say. Months. Let's look at the month's worth of inventory. 2 months worth. Okay. That seems about right. Compared to 1.5 from last month. And comparing 1.3 from last year, same time. So I know you guys see this. Again, I'm still getting people saying there's a lot more inventory on the market, Chia. So maybe buyer's market's coming. Maybe the market crash is coming. No, it's not enough inventory to justify a crash. Okay, it needs to be at least 3, 4, 5, even 6 months worth of inventory, like ongoing, for it to start taking like a downturn or like a shift. And 2 months, it's still under 3 months. And as you guys saw, days of the market is still very, very fast. So days of the market and months worth of inventory kind of goes hand to hand, if you guys haven't noticed. So when you guys start noting this go up, and when you guys start noticing days on the market going up, then that's the actual sign of everything shifting. Looks good. Let's go over mortgages, huh, Lisa?
So remember last time when we went down to less than 7%, it was a little shy of 7. It's a little bit up this week. There's a little bit of an uptick and whatnot. Like I said, it's very volatile. We had a good week last week. We still have a pretty decent week. It's not crazy high or anything like that. It's pretty stable and whatnot. So we're hoping that that will absolutely continue.
Yeah, it did go up just a slight, people. The market's super volatile for all you guys that are buying. So if you guys have the opportunity to lock, I would not gamble on it, because it's either you lock in when it's at 6.42. Oh no, sorry, 7.02, or 7.04, 7.0. I mean, it only goes up in increments like that. I don't know if you guys notice, but that's normally how it goes. And if your lender's telling you to lock it and don't wait, I will probably listen to them, because this is their livelihood. So I would not gamble. It's not worth it. Okay. But that is the market update, everybody. How's y'all week so far, Lisa?
It's good. I mean,
business good.
Can't complain. Business for us, fortunately, is good. Our people are getting into homes and everything. So that's a wonderful thing. And it's always a blessing to be a part of this journey for our people.
Yep. What about you, Charles? I saw you in Pollock Pines the other day.
Yeah. That was yesterday. I've been up there a lot, actually. I was up in Placerville on Monday. But I always like going up in those areas. It's a lot more rural, space around. There isn't just houses upon houses like stacked on top of each other. It's nice to go out there. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Been pretty good though.
You've been busy too?
Yeah. No, it's definitely been busy. I think that's one of the things about us, right? Like that's the whole point, is like being a part of this journey for people is it's always, really, really nice, like, and you meet so many people that are going through it, they're doing this process, and it's, to me, it's fulfilling, to be able to be a part of that process. So, and I think, like I said, we all feel the same here, so.
No, I agree. Yeah, this week so far, it's been pretty productive. But this whole month has been so crazy. Me and Nali have not been getting much sleep, just because there's just so much going on between the staging, the real estate. We've been going to the Bay Area a lot, Lisa.
I'm not surprised. You guys have really, I mean, Nali has a really good eye for that, and for her to go.
She saw me first.
Oh, good gracious. Yeah, but in the Bay Area, if it's not staged, it's people are very visual. So if it's not staged, it's going to be really hard to sell. I mean, we're getting into that in our area already. It makes a huge difference.
We are. It's funny because the other day I saw a post by this one agent. She came from the Bay and now she's in SAC, and she was saying something about reports and disclosures up front before waiting to get into escrow. And she's like,
Yes.
yeah, she's like, Sacramento sellers, get with the program. In the Bay, we don't have to put up with this. Why are you guys waiting till the last minute to give disclosures and home reports? And I feel because I've been doing that a lot, right? Of giving disclosures and home reports up front. Because it does help. It helps speed up the process. It shows transparency, and it's just way more productive that way. So staging is just one of those other items that just makes your listing pop that much more for your clients. So if you're not doing it already, I highly, highly recommend it, because when people come in, you just want to give them that wow factor. And then from there, it just starts working its way through the emotions.
Yeah.
I really don't understand that. I feel like almost sometimes it's a tactic to do that, when you're giving disclosures at the last minute. I mean, like, I feel like the disclosure should be something that you give out immediately. Like, what? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Other than being a tactic to try to.
It is a tactic.
Oh, you love the house already, and now you're not worried about all of these things that you already fell in love, and now Like, by the time I come in and do an inspection, the disclosure should already be out. They should already have given those disclosures.
True. So you're supposed to give those disclosures out within 7 days of getting into contract. Within 7 days. Anything outside of that, then you're basically extending and delaying the escrow period. Because many agents don't know this, Charles, but even on the last minute of escrow, let's say funding's already went through, everything's already done. Let's just say that seller decides to do the disclosures the last minute. That buyer could actually cancel after reviewing the disclosures, because the disclosures are that important. It's super important. That's probably one of the most important forms of a real estate transaction, is the real estate transfer disclosures.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's important information. It's good. It's really important information.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times when I do these, like I said, and I say, hey, have you heard anything from the seller about disclosing what this is? Because I might find something, and then I'll ask, and oftentimes that's the answer I get. Oh, we haven't received disclosures yet. Seriously?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. But hey, it's an hour. I don't want to take too much of your time, too much of your Thursday. Thank you guys for coming on, everybody. Thank you, Jim, for being on the show earlier. Maybe we'll have you come back for a part 2 to go over numbers. And, until then, have a good weekend. Chi fams. We'll see you guys next time. That's your market update. Peace out.